the story about this one was Darryn Peterson again. And after Monday night, where Darryn Peterson did not play due to flu-like symptoms, the microscope and the spotlight was even more on him because it has been one of the most bizarre circumstances involving a college basketball player I think we've really ever seen. You know, a guy that could be the number one overall pick in the draft has only played in what I think 11 or 12 games at this point in time, and he's missed for hamstring issues, cramps. He'll play a first half and then sit the second half. He won't play flu-like symptoms, and it's caused a lot of people to talk about his draft prospects moving forward. And I don't know, you can tell me if I'm biased being here as a KU alum. I don't think this has really any bearing on him going number one overall. Like I think he's going number one overall, whether he plays a majority of the games down the stretch or not.
I agree with you. But my question is, should it? Should that have any bearing on it? Because to me, it feels like this whole saga with him of, resting when maybe he could have played or not fighting through. Because Monday night, it was a sickness that kept him out?
Yeah, flu-like symptoms, lightheadedness is what Bill Self was saying. The issue is the messaging has just been so poor throughout this whole thing too.
Yeah, to me, it just is. It's giving off mad Ben Simmons vibes. Like you've got
I get it.
guys like, LeBron James, who's obviously he's the greatest of the great, but he's in, year 21, 22, and he's literally, his routine remains the same. He's still going out there, and sure, he does take, his fair share of games off with load management and everything, but like the grind has got to be part of the thing that sells you as a draft prospect. And if I'm going to waste my number one pick overall on a player, I want to make sure that commitment level is there, right? And with this, taking the load management in college is the time when you're supposed to be out there playing day in and day out, and you're supposed to be, because you're still trying to sell yourself. To me, like, college is like dating, and the NBA is marriage, right? Like, you still have to work at marriage when you're in marriage, but dating is when you're trying to showcase yourself to your potential spouse. And college, you are showcasing yourself to your potential landing spot in the association. So I don't know. I think it's weird, and it's giving Ben Simmons. Do you sense that at all, or am I wrong there?
No, that's the comp that has come up. People that are extremely frustrated with the situation. It's hard not to be frustrated. I think, number one, as you just talking from a KU perspective, I think you deal with the problems because we've also seen when he's on the floor how special
Right,
he
yeah,
is, and he hit a game-winning
sure.
shot, essentially a couple big-time threes against Texas Tech a week or so ago to get them a big win. And so, to me, he's worth the headache. I think Monday night was the worst of the bunch. I don't think he's faking any injuries. There was speculation about that. I do think there is his family and agent being involved in the process a little bit with the cramping and the hamstring and being cautious with it. But that stuff made more sense to me. Monday night, going out for warm-ups and then not playing, not gutting it through the flu-like symptoms. We know that's something that we would see some of the great ones do. That, to
Sure.
me, was really troubling. Now, I'll say he's also, let's remember, guys, he's a 19-year-old kid. And people are trying to say, well, Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant would never have not played. Well, we're talking about the greatest of all time. And also, the flu game for Michael Jordan, thank you very much, was not when he was 19 years old. So I get you're going to say the makeup, and I get it. People calling him soft. It's fair after Monday night. I'm just saying I don't think it's going to impact what he is in the NBA. And what is concerning from a college basketball standpoint, I know if you're talking about betting on a team to win a national title, is are you confident that come the Sweet 16, do or die elimination game, is he going to gut through an injury for you? Right now,
Yeah,
the
right.
answer is no. Right now, the answer is
Right.
no. And so I can tell you, KU fans are very upset with him. But if he goes and leads a team to a Final Four or they win the national title, nobody's going to give a damn about him playing or not. But the flip side is true. If they're an early exit and he doesn't play a full game and they view it as he's why they lost, I'm serious, he'll never be welcome back at Allen Fieldhouse. That's what's at stake here for legacy wise.
Yeah, it's funny to me that this is all happening now too, in a day and age of NIL where players can make a boatload of money. In fact, if he wanted to stay another year in college, I think we'd all be like, okay, sure. Like we're at the point now where college athletes are getting paid to the point where sometimes it's more beneficial to stay in college than to enter into the pros. But like if this came down pre NIL, I think we'd all be like, okay, I understand it. We know he's going to be the number one draft, and that's where like I kind of almost understand it from the Ben Simmons standpoint, where like it was a little more gingerly with the games that he decided to suit up for, and wasn't necessarily locked in on playing in college because he didn't want to screw up that paycheck that was coming with the NBA. They're getting paychecks now, so it's not like he's screwing up any payment or monetarily environment. Like I just don't understand I guess the motivation behind sitting for him. And if you're gonna showcase yourself, why not showcase yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think again, I think the injuries and everything are real. I don't think they're making anything up there. I just think it's not willing to play through it to protect himself from, I guess, further injuring something. Now, you bring up NIL, and this is where I disagree with everybody's thought that, well, this is happening because of NIL. If AJ DeBonsa was also not playing through an injury, if he got hurt, or Cam Boozer, then I would buy into
Mm-hmm.
this. This is unique to Darryn Peterson. He's the only player
Yeah.
that's projected to be a top 5, top 10. He's going to go number 1, I think, overall. But out of the guys that are projected to be top 5, top 10 picks, nobody else is sitting out. Like if AJ DeBonsa had a hamstring injury, would he start sitting out? That's when I think it would be interesting. This to me is not like, oh man, this is what you get by paying players now, and everybody wants to have that take.
No, yeah,
I think
right,
that's I
right.
think that's wrong.
But then doesn't that also shed more scrutiny for Peterson? Like, doesn't that also say,
Sure,
like, well, maybe this is just a him issue? Maybe, and
it
do I
is
want to
absolutely.
waste my number one pick on someone who's, if he has a hangnail one day at practice, is he going to tough through it? Like, and obviously those are extremes that I'm
No,
I'm
I got
I'm
you.
setting
Yeah.
forth, but like that's a real concern. Like if I'm going to invest millions of dollars in a number one overall pick, I want to make sure that number one overall pick is not only good because the ability needs to be there, but the availability needs to be there as well. Because he can have all of the talent in the world, but if he's not going to suit up, it does my company, my business, my team no good.
No, more than fair. Yeah, and it'll be discussed during the draft process. I tend to think he still goes 1, and hopefully we're not sitting here in 5 years and saying, man, we all should have seen that this guy just doesn't play through anything. I hope that's not the case for his sake as well, because the talent is just absolutely off the charts. I will say, I think it was Jeff Goodwin earlier in the week though that had a quote. I don't know if I can pull it up here real quick, but he had a quote from a anonymous GM essentially saying it's over. The GM was saying it's overblown. This stuff isn't going to impact his draft stock. Teams are still going to fall in love with him. All this kind of stuff. I don't know if I can. This is from much earlier in the week. I don't think I'm going to be able to find it for us on the fly here, guys. But essentially, what I'm paraphrasing, basically, one GM at least doesn't care. As said, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, it's like what you said, It's like look, I don't care if he's missing games as long as we're winning games, right? Like, like the because when he does suit up, he's that explosive and he's that much of an impact. But, meanwhile, you've got, Caleb Wilson in Chapel Hill who fractures his hand, and it's
Yep.
looking like, they just lost the most explosive part, and he that's a guy they're talking about. He may play through it when it does get to the point where he can lace the sneakers back up.
Yeah, big loss, big loss, no doubt for them. And as our guest earlier told us, you get a soft landing spot for now against Pitt, but then the ACC schedule really kicks in. And if you
Right.
look at the early bracketology, and for example, Joe Lenardi over at ESPN, these are the projected number 1 seeds in some of the top seed lines. Arizona would be the number 1 according to Lenardi. You'd have UConn as a number 1. UConn lost last week to St. John. Michigan, and then the other number 1 seed would be Duke, right out of the ACC. The 2 seeds line, and this is relevant to what's happening with Iowa State, they're a 2 seed, and they're cementing themselves a bit as a 2 seed with a dominant performance so far against KU. Illinois out of the Big Ten would be another 2 seed according to Lenardi right now. Then you would also have, let's see, out in the South region, I guess that would be Houston, of course, out of the Big 12. And then the last number 2 seed would be Purdue out of the Big Ten. And so that's kind of where the bracketology is sitting at this point in time. And so much of the net rankings and quad one win stuff can change in these final couple weeks, especially in these big time conferences and the Big 12 and Big 10 and ACC, SEC tournaments. But yeah, this is this Wilson injury is going to impact seeding, but also, the projected top 5 pick. I also don't think this is going to impact his draft status. He's going to be like the number 4, number 5 pick in the draft.
Yeah, no, you're right. So, okay, now if you're GM, I mean, obviously you got to go Peterson still over Caleb Wilson, but if you have the number 1 pick, Alex, are you going Peterson? Are you willing to take that risk for
Yeah,
what the reward would be, but it is a risk?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I am. I think DeBonce is going to be a stud in the league as well. This is not saying that I don't think he's any good. He's
Right.
obviously ridiculously
Sure.
talented.
Same with
But
Boozer.
Darryn
Yeah.
Peterson, the ability to his ability to make it look so easy and smooth, and that is why there were comparisons, even if you think there shouldn't have been comparisons, at least from a couple people, to Kobe Bryant. Just the way when you watch him play, not that he's going to be Kobe Bryant, there will never be a Kobe Bryant again, but his style of play, when you watch, you're like, man, that looks kind of familiar. He also just has a better 3-point shooting percentage so far in college than DeBonce. Like, I think he's just naturally going to have that, whereas it's going to take some time to develop a little bit more for AJ. So yeah, I think number 1 overall pick would be Darryn Peterson. Absolutely.
Okay.